Hello, and welcome to Zap the Gender Pay Gap, the podcast series where we expose the elephant in the room. The elephant's name, the gender pay gap. I am coming to you from Memphis, Tennessee, located on the banks of the mighty Mississippi River. Nestled in the southwest corner of the state, Memphis is home to the blues, barbecue, and so much more. I am your host, Gwendolyn Tucker.
Thank you so very much for joining me for this episode of Zap the Gender Pay Gap. I am your host, Gwendolyn Tucker. Look for me on Apple, Spotify, Google, as well as YouTube, or any other platform where you find your favorite podcast. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'd so appreciate it. Did you know that you're amazing? Yes, you. As we exit this month of love, I want to thank you for showing me love. You encourage me by listening to my podcast, sharing it with others, and leaving a review. For that, I truly thank you. I am determined to show you some love too. My mission in life is to leave each person and place better than I found them. So, on this podcast, I will continue to expose this elephant in the room, to shine a spotlight on this thing that can eat away at a woman's pay, affecting her financial well being. Heretofore, this elephant has been wearing a mask. And you know what? I am determined to reveal what this elephant has been trying to conceal. I also will disclose some previously unknown information to you, some pertinent facts about the impact that this elephant is making. Because if we let it stay, it just may eat us out of house and home. And I will also show you how to dispose of this elephant as well as its effects by finding and fixing the gender pay gap. And I want to do that for every woman who will listen and who has the courage to act. At the end of this episode, I will share with you how to reach out to me if you're interested in finding and fixing your gender pay gap. Now, during this month of love, I've urged you to show yourself some love. And I've responded to this question: what's love got to do with it? And I've stated emphatically that I want to know what love is. And I hear you thinking, Gwendolyn, what in the world does any of this have to do with the gender pay gap? I bet you already know my reply. I'm glad you asked. I urged you to show yourself some love and encourage you to get your ducks in a row. There are three things I did to set myself up for success while in corporate. I definitely did not want to keep those secrets to myself, so I shared them with you because I know that if I could do it, you can do it too. Now, when it comes to work, you may not think that love has anything to do with it. And like Tina Turner, you may be asking the question, what's love got to do with it? Well, when it comes to work, what's love got to do with it? And with any of it, my reply is lots. I am very fortunate that for most of my career, I worked with a wonderful group of people under the leadership of some great bosses until until I landed an assignment working for a bad boss. I was doing work I loved, but working for this boss really was the pits. He didn't want me on his team, and he made sure he knew I was not his first choice. He didn't have to tell me with his words because he told me by his actions often. That experience convinced me that even when it comes to work, I want to know what love is. I want my employer to show it. One way to do that is by speaking my love language at work, AKA my language of appreciation. Now, on the last episode, I revealed the five love languages at work. Do you remember what they are? They are words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, tangible gifts, and some elements of physical touch. Now, please note that tangible gifts is above and beyond fair and equal pay for equal work. So, of these five, what's yours? And may have more than one. Mine are one, words of affirmation, either spoken or written, that I can see and hear. Now, some people prefer it to be one on one, open to either. Either would work for me. And then number two is quality time, quality conversation, and two-way conversation. And utmost is feeling listened to and being understood. Now, as it relates to work, I'm grateful to have worked for some great bosses. One in particular, Bruce, my honorary boss for life, was excellent at showing appreciation to those who worked for him. He looked for what was good in us and was not afraid to let us know. He was not reluctant to express appreciation, and he knew how to speak our language of appreciation. I think that's why it threw me for a loop when I started working for the boss who didn't want me on his team. He even had the audacity to tell me it was not his first choice. Not his first choice. He didn't speak my love language at work and didn't really try. So, to combat his effect on my psyche, I had to start affirming myself. You see, my relationship with my boss was important to me, and I'm sure yours is too. But I couldn't let it be so important that I let what he said or didn't say affect how I felt about myself. Instead of looking to him for affirmation and encouragement, I had to learn how to encourage myself. I could stand in front of a mirror and say to myself, Gwendolyn, you're amazing, just the way you are. And I could believe it too, even if my boss didn't think so. I did not have to use his yardstick to measure my worth. I could use my own. I really believe that if in the workplace, starting with bosses, if people learn the language of appreciation, that more employees would experience a greater degree of belonging. Because by definition, belonging at work is a sense of being valued, of accepted, and integrated within one's professional environment, of feeling connected, supported, and respected by one's organization and colleagues. It also enables employees to bring our authentic self to work, to feel at home in the workplace. And it can foster a greater performance, innovation, satisfaction, and persistence. Now, who in the world wouldn't want that? Now, when it comes to work, we have a lot on the line. If you're like me, you can put a lot of pressure on yourself and can be your own worst critic. But to relieve some of the pressure, try this. Look at yourself and say, you're amazing. It's the way you are. Instead of judging and evaluating yourself, why not affirm yourself? Yes, your contribution at work will be evaluated and judged as meet, exceeds, or does not meet expectations. But you can refuse to confuse your who with your do. Your employer can judge the value of your contribution at work, but they cannot determine your worth. You're amazing, just the way you are. Could you improve your skills and competencies? Work smarter and not harder? Sure. Telling yourself you're amazing just the way you are doesn't mean you're willing to settle for anything less than being your best. No, but it does mean you will stop comparing yourself with other people. Stop looking for affirmation from someone who doesn't know how or is not willing to give it. So if no one else has told you lately that you're amazing, just the way you are, let me tell you now, you're amazing, just the way you are. Before I go, here's my ask. Don't be afraid to be amazing. And don't be afraid to say to yourself, I'm amazing, just the way I am. Now, my dream is to show women how to find and fix your gender pay gap. I'm opening up a few one on one coaching slots. Message me back if you're interested. Go to gwendolynjtucker.com and click on contact. A link is also in the description box below, so you can reach out to me there. Women, you work hard for your money. I can show you how to take home more of it. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of my podcast. Words simply cannot express how much I truly appreciate you and your support. Now, the March winds are blowing in Women's History Month. Join me in celebrating some amazing women. Please invite a woman in your world to listen in too. I look forward to seeing you here next Wednesday at noon Central Standard Time for the next episode of Zap the Gender Pay Gap. Until then, please be well.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of Zap the Gender Pay Gap. Please rate, review, and subscribe to or follow me wherever you get your favorite podcast. I am your host, Gwendolyn Tucker. Thanks so much for listening. See you next time.